medical expertise, and real-world athletic insights. His perspective on children's health, fitness, and long-distance running makes him truly a valuable voice for today's panel. Thank you, sir. Next, please welcome Dr. Ali Irani, sir, Head of Physiotherapy and Sports Medicine at Nanavati
Active too. So we start our first question with Dr. Ali Irani. Sir, so we have a lot of questions regarding sports rehab and injury prevention. I would like to ask you, what role does strength training play in injury prevention for endurance athletes?
Good evening, everybody. I believe that sports is medicine. So, if you take sports in the right spirit and the right manner, it could be medicine. And if you can't, then you will require medicine. So, this is a baseline for all the sports medicine or your children being in sports. I always use the word prevention. So, prevention is better than cure. So, if the right measures are taken, say if I have to open the word prevention, I call P is for peak fitness, R is for regular training, E is for the endurance, V is for the vision. What's your vision for doing it? Right? Then coming to the next P, R, E, V, E again. So doing what are your extracurricular, you do it with sports, right? Then T is the training, I is the injuries, O is the overtraining. That's the worst. When a sportsman doesn't perform, they overtrain themselves. They said instead of 1 hour, they make 2 hours. Instead of just having morning, they go morning and evening. So overtraining has got a syndrome. And I would just end it with one question. I ask them, how is your sleep? If the sleep is not proper and they are not getting sleep, that means somewhere they are overtraining. And the last N, prevention, N is for no to drugs. They should not be on any drug, means any medicine that are not allowed by the Olympic Committee. So this is in nutshell. So prevent is better. Top 8 football team practicing 3 to 4 hours every day. They all the 8 teams had deficiency in vitamin B3 and vitamin B12. So now I would talk more about it, how you all should get it. But all the sportsmen, after that we have done randomly on many sportsmen, vitamin B3 takes care of your bones and vitamin B12 takes care of your muscle and nerves. I prefer a sportsman to have B12 between 400 and 700 and I want them to have their D3 between 40 and 80. So there are a lot of supplements which she can talk more on it. But this is what is one of the problems. So what you are asking about test, definitely this is one test for every sportsman from child to those who are even 80 years old. We are, some of us Indians, I would say more than 60% of the Indians have deficiency. Right? So then the next one that comes is magnesium, which is going to help you to recover. And you don't need to go for anything great. Chana, the normal chana is high in magnesium. Pumpkin seed is high in magnesium. So see that it is part of your diet.
That in terms of nutrition or any of that.
So usually if you are under-fueled, that also will play a role. Your carb intake will also play a role if you are well in your carbohydrate load. Electrolytes does play a role. Like many people will take salt, but there's no potassium or magnesium in coffee. Vitamin D is lacking or iron is lacking. At the same time, hydration also, how much are you hydrating is also very important. Sometimes you have overhydration, which also needs to hyponatremia. So that also needs to be looked into. Or there is, hydration which is also causing hypothermia, which can also lead to cramps later on. The cramps, besides nutrition, also happens when a muscle is not trained. Even an untrained muscle can get cramps, even if your nutrition is well. So I think these factors need to be looked in. And then only I think that resolved.
Right. And any suggestion when you hear hitting the wall is a very common term.
Yes.
So how does one prevent that?
So this is the fatigue which sets in. And that happens typically when people have missed out a lot of meals for the day or have not even eaten well for the day and gone for a workout also, or for a training or for this. So that is important. Also some people many times are fasting, not not eating. And again, not hydrating well, not taking the electrolytes well, you're not even consuming protein well for the day. So like every 3 to 4 hours for the day after the workout, you need to consume the protein. Even that is missed out. They think that post-workout protein is taken, then it is fine. If you will actually look into the Indian diets, right now with all the vegan coming in, people are not taking dairy also. If I actually look up their protein intake is very, very low. They're not even taking 0.8 grams of protein per kg body weight. So all these things will have an impact on your performance as well. Even with carbohydrate, right now, a lot of people, even if the athletes feel low carbohydrate diet they want to be on because all the metabolic syndrome is coming to picture, or the new runners of age who have diabetes or this will cut down on a very low carb diet, less than 45%. That also will make you fatigued. That will also not give you the energy which is required when you are doing training or any kind of cycling or running. So in such case, you don't have to go very low on carbohydrate.
Do it successfully.
Actually, it is, you should love that activity. That is very important. And if you are loving that activity by heart, so then that activity becomes a regularity. Once it becomes regular, it becomes habit. And once it becomes habit, it becomes a ritual. So that is all the process, And see, without pain there is no gain. So for doing this activity, you have to discipline yourself. You have to go to bed early, get up early, and rise with the sun. What is important is when you have your first light on your body and when you are having your last bite. That is very important. If these two things are matched, then and plus you have head above the heart, then you can definitely achieve whatever you want. So training for comrades and for that matter any running distance, maybe it may be 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers. See, every 1 kilometer counts. It is not that the 90 is the last digit. Every kilometer counts, and for that one thing you have to have discipline, and you should love that activity by your heart.
So sir, in my experience that the patients I see who run comrades, who are injured and are going to run, one very distinct feature I see between a 21 and 42 and a comrade runner is that the comrade runners don't engage too much in strength training. They do a lot of mileage, they are putting a lot of effort there. But is that the right way to
go ahead with? See, the basic, the fundamental is strengthening, functional training and strength training. Very much important. If that foundation is there, then you can be a very good runner. 90% of the homework is done by endurance, strength training, and functional training. And then the rest, it will be a cakewalk, So most important is strengthening. The rest is little less important.
I think so. This answers the question of Thana runners. You all should be Dr. Oak. You should sort out, see what training he was doing.
Mr. Surjit, next question.
Ball game. Basically, when you are swimming in a controlled atmosphere, the swimming pool, you know that there is a proper lane, you know whether it is 25 meter or 50 meter, and the temperature, whether everything is controlled. But where it comes differently, and swimming into pool also needs a lot of strength. You have to have a proper diet, proper this was like my son, he is holding 122 medals in competitive swimming. So that's like, it's not easy. It's like you need to train, you need to have a proper diet, you need to have a...
No, I really wouldn't advocate cycling only as a fitness activity. It's more than a fitness activity for me, it's more of a commute. Okay. I think there are a lot of problems with first infrastructure, road safety. Second comes yourself. So mainly you don't know how to cycle, you stop cycling after school. So you're 30, 40, you can't really initiate an activity. And the third comes our weather in Bombay. It is a hot, humid climate. So cycling as a full-time activity is difficult. But I think for a hobby in the morning, cycling is one of the best cardiac exercises. Because it doesn't give you much of knee stress also. So I think cycling is a very good exercise for a morning cycling or running kind of exercise.
Right. Thank you, sir.
I come across a lot of overuse injuries. The commonest joints that get overused and get injured is the shoulder and the knee. They are the most commonest ones. And they are used in every sport. You name a sport and it is used. Obviously, in terms of overuse injuries, I see more runners than anybody else, because it's very frustrating for a runner not to run, especially when they are no boys. They feel like, oh, मेरा बाजू तो भाग रहा है, मैं नहीं भाग पा रहा. नहीं भाग पा रहा, there may be reason, right? You're not running because you have not trained enough. You have not looked at your diet, you have not looked at your age, you have not looked at your fatigue levels. Then what happens is they would play the shoe or they play, adjuncts. So one of the reasons for overuse injury or fatigue injuries is the mental state. The second reason is inappropriate care. So you can do like he bikes, and you can bike on the road with a mountain bike, and that will fatigue you faster than a road bike. So what additional gears you need? You can play football, keep going on. And then you can get injured because of overuse. Because as you keep using your glucose, your reaction times go down.
This is the ultimate aim of every runner. You have to run one and he is now going for the first time Comrades also, so I would like to let him go and